Hello, Gerald. Hello, everybody. Welcome one more time to Reverse Engineering Conversations with Omar. I'm Omar. I have this time another graduate from the Shetty School, and it's a pleasure, it's a blessing to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'm really excited to dive deep into this conversation because you have a background that I'm really intrigued and I'm really interested. And me personally, I have a little bit of experience on some of the things that you're gonna be talking about. But welcome, man. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Omar, it's my pleasure. I'm so grateful that you're having me as a guest on your show. I really appreciate it. I think what you're doing is amazing. You know, you're giving a platform to coaches uh, to really get their message out there. And I think that a lot of us coaches, we have some valuable information that we'd like to impart upon the world, and our stories are very interesting. So I really appreciate you doing this. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you so much for being here, man. It's a pleasure and it's an honor to have you here. And I want to start first with who is Gerald. Tell us a little bit about your story. You're a coach now. You graduated from the school, but who is Gerald? Like, what is your background? Give us a little background so that way we can start diving into it because this is fun.
Okay, well, um, I'm somebody right now in my life who's living an authentic life. I'm living true to my authentic self. I'm trying to do the things that I'm supposed to be doing as a human being. I'm not trying to do things that weren't meant for me to do in the past. Um, I took on a lot of jobs that I thought I could do, and my friends were doing really well, working in the corporate world, and I tried to emulate that, but it just wasn't for me, and I was miserable. Um, and I needed to find myself, and it took me way too long, I think, but I'm finally there. I'm at a point in my life now where um, I do what's important to me, but also what I believe makes me a better person and makes me able to serve humanity at a higher level. And probably that's why I do the coaching, because I think coaching, you can really connect one on one with somebody, and you can have a positive impact on their life. And when you have a positive impact on someone's life, it really helps you feel good about yourself, not only that person, but yourself. And so, yeah, I don't know if I answered your question that accurately, but I'll tell you some of the things that I do that help me be true to who I am. I practice gratitude daily. I meditate, I exercise, I take time to take care of myself. And then I do the work that I do as a coach, so I'm reaching out to people on different platforms, just making connections, seeing if there's, the possibility of some sort of a working relationship.
Sure.
So, and in anything I do, I really try to leave the person that I'm dealing with better off than when I met them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. You mentioned some key points, and I want to point it out because for me they are important. And before I start, there's a few people on the chat, and it's really amazing. Alina was here with us. Thank you so much for being here. Hi guys, nice to see you both. Thank you, Alina. Thank you for being here, and it's great to see you too. Uh, Odette, thank you so much for being here. Odette is here as well, and you know, uh, like Alina mentioned, she's like, yes, gratitude is everything. Gratitude is very powerful, and we have Radhika here too. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And you mentioned a couple things, right? Now you live in your authentic self. Uh, you're doing the coaching, which something it seems like it brings you into a state of mind in a peaceful way, right? It makes you feel great. and especially because you're making an impact in someone else's life. But you mentioned something really interesting, and if you don't mind, I want to dive a little bit into it so people can understand how you were able to come out of that. You say, my friends were happy in the corporate world, so I was trying to emulate that. And it's so interesting that nowadays plenty of people try to do something that someone else is doing without filtering and putting it through, is this is for me? Do I really want to do this? Do I like to do this? Without even asking. They just want to do it because it's cool, it's fun, you name it. But then they find themselves in this rabbit, I call it rabbit hole, where they decide and they find out that, wait a second, this is not as fun as they make it sound. This is not as fun as I thought, as it looks. Can you dive a little bit into it? And how do you realize that that wasn't for you? Yeah, it was fun for your friends, but it wasn't just for you.
Well, yeah, I think part of who I am is somebody who was never sure of himself. I didn't know
Mhm.
what I was good at. I didn't have the confidence and the belief in myself. So I figured, like, people I know, my friends, they're doing really well in different jobs and different careers, and how come I'm not? And I tried so many different types of jobs,
Yeah.
um, and none of them really spoke to me. And a lot of the times, I just, like, getting up thinking I have to go to work was like the worst thing in the world for me, and I just couldn't figure out what was wrong. And I did a lot of reflecting. I did a lot of thinking, like, what should I do with my life? What can I do with my life? And um, and then I read a book, and the book really kind of changed my mind. It changed my mindset. It
Mhm.
said, "Wow, like, maybe there is hope for me. Maybe there is something I can do." And I left my job at the bank in 2013, and
Mhm.
I tried different things, and again, nothing kind of really worked out, because I was doing things for the wrong reason. I wasn't doing things to make the world a better place. I wasn't doing things that's gonna serve a purpose. I was only thinking of the money behind it, and how much money can I make. And and I'm not a person that's motivated by money, if that makes any sense to you. I mean, of course I need money to live, but money, just money alone, can't motivate me. you know I need to be doing something that I feel good about, and that I feel like I'm living a life of service, serving others, helping others um, evolve, helping others grow, helping others uh, live their best life. Helping others be more authentic to who they are.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know if I answered your question.
No,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. This is really awesome because you were able to identify that. Wait a second, I'm chasing the wrong thing. It's like you say, we'll need money. Money is a tool that that we can use it. It's we use it and we need it, obviously, right? But you realize, like, wait a second, this is not for me. But then after that corporate job, you went into something else. What else was there before you became a coach? Because you just became a coach, but after the corporate year 2013, what else did you do between that gap 2013 to 2020?
okay, well, I did try some real estate, and that was just all about making a lot of money, and then, like, not having to work. And and when I think about it, when I say it out loud, I realize how ridiculous it even sounds, right? Just because because it doesn't resonate with me anymore, and it's not who I am. And then I tried a couple of like online businesses, and again, I just, it was all about like, oh, I can make money doing this. I can make money doing this. And at one point I just said, you know what? Stop making it about the money. Start making it about how you can bring more value to the world, live a life of service. So I took on a part-time job just doing some security work. And we got shut down in the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at home. I was just doing some research because I was thinking about doing a podcast eventually, and I came across on my newsfeed an ad for Shetty Life Coach, and
Mm-hmm.
I said, interesting. And I did some research on it, and I signed up. And the ironic thing is, maybe about 3 years ago, I started thinking about becoming a life coach, but I couldn't find a program that I said, wow, I really like this program. It's me. It sounds like me.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of tried to put together my own program, but again, I didn't have the confidence to actually do it. But then when the Shetty came along and I started to do the courses, I said, wow, a lot of the stuff I'm learning on these courses are the things that I wanted to do as a life coach on my own.
Yeah.
So it kind of validated my choice. I said, wow, I think I made a really good choice.
Yeah.
And, when you start to live a life that's authentic to who you are, you actually start to make better choices for yourself, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And I think that is a big eye opener for me, because I'm making the choices that are aligned with my values and with who I am as a person, as opposed to trying to be somebody else, trying to please everybody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I took the course. I was one of the first people to complete it and graduate, and now I'm coaching a few clients, and um, I kind of, I love my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
At
No,
my
yeah. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that you being so open, and I really want to thank you. And just Alina say, we have to align ourselves with our soul purpose. That's when we find true happiness. And to do that, we have to find who we are and live authentically. I totally agree on that. And they have a question for you, Gary. What was the book that you read that changed your life? Yeah, and I was going to ask you that. And what is it? That's a great question. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't mind sharing that with you. It was a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and the book it's about based on a true kind of story of Robert Kiyosaki when he was young. He had his father who was poor, and then he had his best friend's father who was rich, and he kind of learned from both of them, and he learned what he wanted to do and what he didn't want to do, and he became a very successful real estate investor, and that's kind of how I got into the whole real estate thing.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, the book spoke to me because um, he talked about how society seems to want all of us to just like go to school, get good grades, get a job, and then work for somebody else for the rest of your life, and have an almost unfulfilled life. And I mean, it works for some people. It doesn't work for me, and it never worked for me working for other people, working in corporations or for other smaller companies, whatever. But what really you know works for me is the fact that um, I enjoy, and for me, coaching is a vehicle in which I'm able to help people and make a difference.
Yeah.
So Rich Dad Poor Dad, it was an eye opener for me, and it actually is the thing that got me started on my whole journey. And it took me maybe from the time I read that book to actually coaching, maybe 9 years, 8 years, or whatever. But I don't have any regrets. Like, it's all part of my journey. It's part of what I had to do to get here. Um, some people know at a very young age what they want to do, and they're very good at it. And others, it takes a lifetime to figure out. So um, the thing is, for me, it's not about getting to any final destination. It's really about enjoying the process and enjoying the journey, enjoying the connections I make. Because, really, I, I think that, the fact that we're able to connect as human beings is one of the greatest gifts we have. And it's the most valuable commodity that we have is the ability to connect with one another. And unfortunately, a lot of that is lost today. But I'm trying to, you know, buck that trend, and I'm trying to, connect with as many people as I can, and connect on a deep level where it's meaningful. So
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all that. And just like Kim, thank you so much for being here. Excuse me. She say, "Yes, I love that." Excuse me. I love that this brings you such a joy. Wow, that was
you
really,
okay?
yeah. I'm really good. I don't know what happened there, but I wanted to ask you. Um, you obviously are very aware of things that when you they don't align with you, you're able to spot them on and remove them, and you're able now to 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 look for those things, right? And you obviously want to encourage people to do that. How are you? Oh, it's not how are you doing it, but it's like, what do you think are two or three things can people do in order for them to start finding what you have?
Okay, I'll tell you one of the biggest game changers for me, and I started doing this 4 years ago. Um, I started writing in a gratitude journal every day. I would write three things that I was grateful for. And sometimes it could just be a simple thing like this beautiful bird I saw. And other times I'll be grateful for the fact that I've got a healthy body where all my limbs are working properly, and my eyes and my ears and everything. But when you just focus on what you can be grateful for, there's a shift in your mindset, and you start to look at life way more positive than you do negative. And for me, that was the biggest game changer. It changed my life completely. Um, the other thing I think is we have to find something that we enjoy doing. Myself, I like to take care of myself. So I eat right, and I exercise every day. Um, I went for a 10-kilometer run 3 days ago, and I get up at like 5 in the morning, right? And I go for my run usually from 6:30 to 7:30. Sometimes I start earlier, but always around that time. I do some meditation before, but it was like really cold. It was like minus 25 with the wind chill, so it was cold. But I did it anyways, you know. And I think that's because it's part of me, and and I enjoy it, and I'm passionate about it, and um, I'm also I use that time to do a lot of reflection, right? Because I'm running in the morning, there's nobody around. I'm running in the woods, so it's very calm, very serene, and it just gives me time to think about what I want to do for the day, think about what I'm grateful for. Um, so it's just it's my it's almost like it's my spirituality, So
Mhm.
I think that if you practice gratitude, if you find one thing that you can do every day that really makes you feel alive,
Yeah.
I guess the third thing that I do is I try to learn something new every day. You know, whether it's learning how to market myself better, or whether it's how to do a Facebook ad, or whether it's you know, uh, what's the best way to approach somebody on a call, so whatever. But I'm always trying to learn something every day, because I think you need to, especially the way everything is changing so rapidly these days. Um, it's important that you just do that.
Yeah. Thank you. Those are three tips, like the gratitude journal. The second one is just finding something that you enjoy or brings you joy. And number three is just trying to learn something. And I wanna stop here because those three things are very crucial. At least for me, they are very crucial. Like start writing down at the beginning of the year a gratitude journal. Know the power of it. And I wanna stop there because I wanna go a little more deeper. It is great that you're gonna write down your gratitude journal, but oftentimes I tell people it is good that you do external, but you gotta start doing internal. And what I mean is just like you mentioned, it's great that you saw a beautiful bird, something simple. But when you start doing that gratitude internal, it starts bringing that peace of mind. That for me I experienced. I didn't apply it until I fractured my right hand. I started applying the internal gratitude, and and it blew my mind. I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. I've been doing everything external. I got to do everything internal, and everything starts shifting. So I think that that'll be really powerful. Now you are obviously your niche says everything, right? Your niche is really interested. How do you come up with your niche? What inspires you to go for that type of niche?
um, well, okay, so I want to help people live live their life to their true authentic self. Okay, and also I want them, to live a healthy life. Now, um, somebody asked me the other day, who's my ideal customer? And I said, my ideal customer is me 5 or 10 years ago. And you know, I went through a lot of painful experiences, um, and it's because I wasn't living a life that was true to my authentic self. And when I started to do things that were truer to me, is when I started to experience real growth, personal internal growth. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I would I would fall to being a victim so easily. Something would happen if I lost my job, or my girlfriend and I would break up. I would be like the victim, and I don't have that mindset or that mentality anymore. So I want to help people um, live their life authentically, like I said, so that they don't have to go through a lot of the pain that I went through. And
Hmm.
and I really know that coaching works, because I've had coaches myself, and one of the things a coach does is we collapse time frames. So if you're struggling with something and you're not getting coached, and you're in the same place 3 years later, that's hard. Imagine being in the same place stuck for 3 years because you haven't evolved, you haven't grown. But a coach can help you get to the next level, or where you want to go, within 6 months, 12 months, whatever it takes. So yeah, I think helping people live a life that's true and authentic to themselves is so important.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think it is. And we have Nisha here. Nisha's always thank you so much for being here, Nisha. I appreciate always your support and for being here. She said, yes, self gratitude along with self compassion is key. And I think it's something that you obviously are very aware of it, right? You obviously want to make an impact. And you obviously trying to work with entrepreneurs, right? You're trying to
Yeah.
help entrepreneurs, and what else? What else are Gerald doing at the moment?
What else am I doing besides the coaching?
Yeah, what else you're doing? You're obviously trying to help entrepreneurs, but what else is Gerald doing? Like besides that, yeah, we all want to continue coaching, but what else are you doing? You
Well,
mentioned you want to do a podcast, you want to do all this. So what other projects you have? I should say.
um, yeah, I'd like to write a book. I've actually started to write a book. I wrote it, and I had a few people read it, and it wasn't quite ready, and I kind of put that on the back burner for now. But it's something that I'm going to get to in 2021. And the book, it's really all about making the right choices, right? I believe that with anything we do in this world, we have two choices. We can choose love or we can choose fear. And love being all the good emotions, and fear being all the bad emotions, right? So with fear, you've got rage and anger and depression and you know all these bad things, jealousy, you know, feelings of racism and just not good emotions with fear. And then with love, you've got um, happiness, joy. You've got inner peace. You've got serenity. You've got feeling great. So when we make um, and I think most of us we're stuck in a place of fear where we do things out of fear and not out of love. For instance, I was living in fear because I was always taking jobs that weren't meant for me. I mean, not only was I living out of alignment, but I was choosing fear because I felt that, oh, if I don't have a job and I don't have a paycheck, I'm gonna be homeless, or I'm not gonna make it, I'm not gonna survive. So fear was holding me back. But if I would have said, you know what, I got to find something that I love and I'm passionate about and go after that, I would have been going the other way. And when you choose to do things out of love, you become fearless, you become brave, you become courageous, you become confident, you have more energy. So it's really it's hard to just kind of describe the whole book in this short interview here, but that's kind of the basis of the book. So I want to get that message out there that we really like, if we can start to choose out of love as opposed to choose out of fear. I think we're gonna be able to live more productive lives.
Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you, thank you, thank you. And just like Elena was uh, phrasing you, choosing love over fear, and it's really interesting because you obviously experienced both, right? You, like you said, like you were living and out of fear, you were doing jobs that weren't meant for you, and now you have the other side of the coin, which is love, and you're doing something that you enjoy. You obviously enjoy, you it brings you peace, and it brings you a lot more in that state of mind that oftentimes I tell people you just have to feel it. It's hard to explain it. There's no words, right? There's no words that you can explain that because you have to feel it. Something that you feel it, right? It's not something that let me put into words. Yeah, we always try to put things into words, but sometimes it doesn't have words. It doesn't have any. It's just something that you feel, because my definition of love is not the same definition of yours. We follow whatever the dictionary says that based on that definition of love. But my definition of love might be different than somebody else, and that it's okay. Right? I
Sure.
understand that the both are going to be different, but I think at the end of the day, it's that feeling of joy, fulfillment, and something that you're trying to bring to your clients. Now, who's your audience that you're trying to target? What is the audience that you're trying to bring your message to?
Well, I believe that it's anybody that's frustrated with life, They don't have a direction, or they don't have a sense of purpose. They maybe they lack confidence, low self esteem, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're not being true to who they are. They're not living their life aligned with their values. And when you
Mhm.
start to do things that you're meant to do, life becomes so much easier. You know, uh, it's hard. It's sometimes it's hard to always describe, but it's like asking. It would be like asking a fish to climb a tree. It can't do it, right? So um, a lot of times when I was doing jobs when I was younger, that I probably would have been better off doing something completely different. But because I didn't know myself well enough, because I didn't do the deep reflection and the thinking, and I had confidence issues, right? Like I didn't have the confidence I have now. So I would take, like I said, jobs that really I shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah.
So
Nice. I wanna you say something that I blew like
sure.
it's in me, and I wanna go back there. But before I go back there, was like surrendering to love comes after you have experienced too much fear. What are your thoughts on this? And then I want to go back on what you just said. But what are your thoughts on what Alina says? Thank you for sharing, Alina. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Alina. Thank you very much. You know what? I think it it makes a lot of sense. It really does, because um, it kind of reminds me of this saying that you're only going to change when the pain of staying the same is or the, is less is more than the pain of change. You know what I mean? So when we're experiencing a lot of pain at something, we're not going to change until that pain becomes too powerful that we would rather change. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
yeah, I think, and unfortunately, a lot of people, they've got a high tolerance for pain, and they live in fear for a long time. And I know, because I'm one of them. And I'm one of these people um, that I really had a huge transformation in my life, and it didn't happen overnight. It's taken, you know, the better part of 10 years to get to where I am now. But um, through a lot of you know pain and living in fear, and I was tired of it, and then I guess I started to embrace more love than fear, and that's when the changes uh, really started to happen for me.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned love because you say earlier, you say I didn't have the confidence, and it seems that's something that you've been struggling, and to I want to acknowledge it because not a lot of people admit that we struggle with confidence, right? It's not that easy to admit, I'm not that confident. I'll be honest with you. And I'm going to put myself as example because that's the only example I can give. I'll be honest with you. For example, for me, when I decided to do these live shows, I discovered that this is one of my strengths, right? I discovered it was one of my strengths. Once I just play, I just press play in the camera. I can talk to myself for days, like non-stop. But it's not. I didn't know that while I try to make videos, I try to create graphics and try to do things that I'm not that confident of doing that, but I recognize it. But now I'm playing to my strengths instead of trying to play on my weaknesses. Yeah, I wanted to get better at it, but once you focus on your strengths and what you love and something that inspires you, something that brings your passion, I often tell people, you find your passion when you understand what was the lesson from the pain that you experience. For me, I'm a personal trainer. Fitness saved my life. That was my pain. I converted into my passion. I didn't know it. I didn't know that was my passion until that happens, right? And
Yeah,
so I think that's what it is. It's just like, you mentioned like having that, not having that confidence, and you obviously now you're doing something that is, it feels very authentic to you. You feel like you can be yourself more than
yeah,
any. So we often, like you've been trying to fit into somebody else's um, scenario, in somebody else's movie, I should say. And it's really, really, really awesome to see, and to have you here, sharing that with us. And Kim says a lot of people don't understand how much personal power they have. What do you think about that? This is great. Great. Thank you for sharing that up, Kim. This is great. Keep bringing the guys because this is really awesome.
I agree 100%. Like we all have so much power inside of us. We just need to learn to unleash it, and I think that um, our education system tries to lump us all in the same box, and we don't all fit in that box, right? Not all of us are going to be really good at reading and writing and math, right? We're just not. um, but that doesn't mean we're not smart. It doesn't mean we're not intelligent. There's a whole other side to intelligence where there's creativeness, and I think that if our education system could recognize, wow, this person's really good at like expressing themselves, maybe they should become a writer where they tell stories, or this person's really good at music, like this person's got talent for that and natural. This person should we should get this person to do more stuff with regards to music. But unfortunately, we're not. We're all like lumped into this thing where we just got to learn, and then go to elementary school, high school, then university. And what if you're doing all that and none of that is really what you should be doing? You know, we're not taught to think differently and think outside of the box. And I think that the ones that do, are the ones that are brave enough to do things differently and do things that really speak to them. And then we say, wow, well, I can never be like that. But you don't know that unless you try.
Yeah.
And um, so we all have so much uh, personal power inside of us. We just have to figure out how to um, unleash that.
Yeah. No, this is really, really great. Thank you for sharing all that, and
Yeah,
obviously
thanks, Kim.
making that comment, because obviously there's a lot of power. We'll have a very unique power. It's just a matter of you trying to find it. And you keep mentioning, I love the fact that you mentioned that is a journey, that you understood, for you, for example, it's been 10 years. Myself, it's been 10 years in the personal development. And I'm like, I'm enjoying this process. This process being, for me, it's been one of the most amazing process I ever done in my life. And it's really amazing when you just continue to do things that brings you a lot of more joy. You continue to develop yourself, and in ways that you sometimes you didn't even imagine. And Alina said something here. Yes, recognizing your uniqueness or gifts or strengths. That's really, really, really awesome. And just you mentioned, because Alina just share another comment, and you went back there. You say earlier, and Alina, I just want to mention it here because you say earlier that for some people they discover at the early stage, and for some people it's a lifetime. And obviously Alina says it took me all my life. I think it takes just courage, right? It takes that courage to recognize it. I think once you recognize what it is, because what we are aware, we're just not able to accept it. We are afraid to accept our reality. We're really afraid to accept the reality that we're experiencing, We want to do something, and we continue to do things
Yep.
till you accept the reality where you at. Then you can start moving and taking those baby steps and just creating those patterns that is going to help you elevate, right? And I think that's really awesome. And Kim says yes, exactly. We need to trust that we'll have a purpose and gifts, and discovering it should be part of our daily energy, which is really awesome. Now you obviously have a lot of experience though in the real estate. I want to stay there a little bit because for me, I do have plenty of people. They do real estate, and just like you, they enjoy. They really enjoy that adrenaline. Oh, and the banks, right? They really enjoy the adrenaline. I'll tell people there's people that's gonna be able to work under stress, and there's people that don't like the stress. Identify what you like, and it seems like you feel like the stress is like, oh, under that pressure you're like, I don't like this. Me neither, trust me, because I used to do sales, and I was like, oh man, this is the stress level. It was really high all the time, and sometimes like it was really high that I'm like, this is, I don't miss that, I'll be honest with you. I experienced it, I know how it feels, and I'm like, the minute I start feeling like that, I'm like, oh man, I don't like this. I gotta go in a different direction, right? But can you explain a little bit of that particular phase of your life?
The real estate stuff. Um, I like. I was still working at the bank, and I came across the whole real estate investing thing, and I really thought that that's what I should be doing with my life. But I didn't do enough. I guess I didn't do enough research on everything. I thought it would be easier, um, and I guess there were other circumstances. I think the market wasn't good where I was trying to do it, and like a lot of things. There were just like too many moving parts for me, and it just I'm not a business person, and so um, have to deal with contracts, have to deal with accountants, have to deal with lawyers, have to deal with real estate agents, have to deal with notaries, have to deal with mortgage brokers, have to deal with finding investors. It was just more than I thought it was, and
Yeah,
um, it was just not. It was not in my wheelhouse. It was out of my breadth.
yeah,
So, but I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about myself, and it was just it was that one another step in my journey along the way.
yeah,
So
yeah. That's pretty awesome. Thank you for being so open about it. That because a lot of people just like, just want to go into real estate, but right now you just gave a whole entire list. I'm like, oh, and there's more. That's just a little bit of what you remember from the top of your head, but there's more. All the paperwork, yeah, that involves, right? Uh, because everybody, yes, it might be good money, was everybody says, but when they realize, like, oh, gotta go through all this plus more, they're like, oh, I don't want to do that, right? I don't want to do that. And Alina says, I was afraid others won't accept it, um, which we always fear that, right? The what we're doing, even though it's good, it feels good for us, we feel that rejection. You asked me earlier and back and at the before we started the show, and just like, what make you come out here, man? It was that people. I reach out to people that I want to be part of their podcast, and they say at the moment there's nothing, right? There's nothing. So I was message, email over email over email or over email until I said, you know what? I got to create a platform. I'm gonna do this on my own. This is how nobody's gonna give me the chance. And I said, it's fine. So I took it like it was opportunity for me. Thanks to that, it gave me the, oh, I can do that too. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna create it. And now I think that's the reason why I created this. And it's the main reason I should say that I created this, because I want to give the platform to people like myself, like yourself, that is starting their own business, starting this journey of entrepreneurship, and coaches, especially from the Shetty school, want to give them the platform to bring their own story, so people gets to know them, to tell their story, to tell how are you making an impact in the world, and how are you transforming lives. And that's where I wanna stop for a moment, because I think I want to ask you that: how are you transforming lives, and how are you making an impact in the world? You know?
That's a good question. And I believe that I've actually been doing that all my life,
Yes.
because I take the time to reflect. And actually, when I was 18, 19, I was probably truer to my authentic self than I wasn't when I was in my 30s. I remember 18, 19, 20, I was in, university, and my summer jobs were working at summer camp, and I was working with kids that were, underprivileged kids that came from group homes and divorced and low income, and they didn't have anything in this world. And sometimes for those kids, the 2 weeks they spent at summer camp were the best 2 weeks of their year. Um, and I just tried to instill good values in them, and I tried to be kind and listen to their story, and show empathy. So at a young age, I already knew that uh, I I have this gift where I can help people feel better about themselves. A few weeks ago, a friend of mine reached out to me, and she wasn't feeling good. She was like, so I said, "Oh, let's talk," and I just said, I think that um, you're too focused on one thing, and you should look at all the wonderful things that are going on in your life. You've got two wonderful kids, and you're doing well in your job. So just focus on those things, and all the other things are going to fall into place. And she goes, Jerry, I don't know what it is, but every time I talk to you, I feel better after I talk to you. And I said, well, I'm glad I could help you, and I think that we all need to be able to show empathy. And I think, that's one of the ways that I help make this world a better place, or impact people's lives, is listening to them, and being kind and empathetic to them, because we don't all have somebody to talk to, and sometimes we need somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
So if anyone ever approaches me, and they want to talk to me, I'll listen to them, and I'll try to help them if I can. And that's the way I deal with my clients. Sometimes a session is just them telling you about how shitty they feel their life is, and I
Mhm.
just tell them, like, focus on what's working in your life. What are you happy about? And just focus on that one thing, and focus on that one thing for as long as you have to, so you start to feel better about yourself.
Well,
And it's not always going to work, but hopefully it works more often, way more often than it doesn't. And hopefully it has a good and solid impact on their lives.
yeah. Thank you so much. That's so beautiful. That very well put. Thank you so much for sharing that piece of knowledge and wisdom that you just gave us. And just like Alina says, awesome stuff here. Listen and empathy. I think it's beautiful that you putting yourself at service, right? And that's where everything starts. Like we as a coaches, at least with every single person that I've come across in this show, service is the main thing. Service is the main thing. Service, understanding that there's a journey, and understanding what is the vision of the world. We're trying to create an impact in this world, you know, in the best way possible that we think it. We want to make an impact, right? Now, Jerry, we're almost at the end. Where can people find you at the moment? What are the places that people can relocate you, or can locate you, I should say, so they can find you?
Well, they can reach me at Instagram at Jerry the Coach.
Hmm.
They can also go to my website, jerrythecoach.com. And as well, there's my Facebook, professional Facebook page, Gerry Czernohorsky.
Okay.
And yeah, that's it. Well, I have my Facebook group as well. That's still in the infancy stages. I'm still trying to create content for that, but those are the best places to reach me at.
Thank you so much for sharing all this, and I really, really want to thank you and acknowledge you for all the wonderful things that you're doing. You know, you obviously been through a lot. You obviously experienced a lot, and thanks to those experiences that you were able to, you know, like you said, you have no regrets. You were able to go through them. You know, it has helped you become the person that you are today. And I really, be honest with you, it was this is really fun. It's always fun for me to be on the other side, you know, because for me, I get to see a side that not a lot of people see, right? Not a lot of people is able to identify. But myself, I was able to resonate with so much of the things that you say, you know, and I really wanna acknowledge you for all the great things that you're doing, you know, for sharing your gratitude journal, for sharing the tips that you gave us, the gratitude journal, the, you know, try to be kind, try to be empathetic, but more than any, trying to help and support each other. I think that's very well, and you obviously try to encourage people be more authentic, be more of themselves, right? Is there anything that you want to share with us that I didn't ask, or I didn't have the opportunity, or I didn't give you the opportunity to share, that you would like to share with anyone? If anyone, actually, as a matter of fact, anyone has any questions for Jerry, feel free to put them up there, and then that way we can answer. But Jerry, anything else?
You know, I don't know if I touched a lot on this, but um, kindness really goes a long way. And it, I, it's a hard one for me to not. It's not hard to be kind because I really believe that I'd rather say something nice to somebody than something horrible to them.
Mhm.
Compliment people and make them feel good about themselves. Um, but sometimes, when you're having a discussion with somebody and you're right and you want to prove your point, it's in those cases where it's you just be kind and don't worry about being right or wrong. Just you know, um, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's one that I have a hard time with because when I'm having a discussion with somebody and I feel that I'm right, I tend not to show as much kindness as I feel I should or would be better off. Um, so yeah, I think that's a big one for me to work on. Um,
Yeah.
show kindness when in all situations. Just try to be kind in all situations. I mean, you're kind in all situations. I think it shows inner strength and confidence because you could have somebody that's upset with you and arguing with you, and you could take the defensive or the offensive and say, oh, you're wrong and or whatever, or you could just say, I'm really sorry. How can I make this better? And just try to be kind. And when you take that approach, you disarm the person, and it comes from a place of strength and confidence. And it's so I know, just to me, I think if we can make kindness a law, where everyone has to be kind to everybody, we would have we would solve so many of the world's problems.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're spot on. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. It's true that they were always trying to prove something. We're always trying to be better than that person, and it's that obviously that I can do things better than anyone else, or you're right, you're wrong. Uh, you know, I am right, you're wrong, and things like that. And I want to leave you because you say that's something that I struggle. I want to leave you with something so you can think about it. There's something that not too long ago I came across, and it says every single person has their own map of the world. When I a lot of times when I found myself in situations like that, I used to scan my brain, and I said, Every single person has their own map of the world. For me, end of the story. I gotta move on. That's it. There's no right or wrong. Your definition is just like I said earlier. Your definition is different. It's just different than mine. And
Yeah.
that for like when it scammed out through myself, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of more sense. But anyways, thank you so much everybody for watching. For being here. Thank you, Alina, for being here. Thank you, Jerry
Thank you,
Noma,
Alina.
message. Thank you so much, Kim. Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for being
Kim.
here. Nisha, just everybody knows I'm spreading the word. I'm really going to take every platform, every opportunity that I have. I'm going to spread the word. Just by the way, Nisha is going to be a sponsorship of reverse engineering. She's going to start giving cakes, chocolate cakes. I really want to
Yeah,
try those. So I'm really no. Jerry's like good. Yeah, she's gonna be a sponsorship on those cakes. So this is really awesome. Kim, yes, kindness and love can change the world. It's totally true, and I know that says kindness is an important value. Thank you for sharing your story, Jerry. Thank you
you're
so much.
welcome.
Thank you so much for being so open, being willing to share your story. I really, really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time to come over here to the show. And it's giving us like all your wisdom, sharing your story, and just be really open. It takes a lot of courage to be open in a platform that you know to the public, and especially for the things that you want to do. You want to create a huge impact in every person that you come across, and looking forward to see your growth, and hopefully in the near future we can have you back again to tell us more about your story, and we can tell us the other side of we didn't touch a lot of things, but so far everything is great. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you next week. Where next week, by the way, Nisha, no, I know not picking up on Nisha, but Nisha is gonna be interviewing me. Yeah, I'm gonna be able to tell you about my story.
That's
A lot of people has been asking me about my story, and it's like he helped me to. I'm like, oh, that's true. I haven't talked about my story besides in a couple of the podcasts that I've been, but yeah, I'll have the blessing that Nisha is gonna be having an interview me. I'm gonna be on the other side now. I'm gonna be in your side, Jerry. So Nisha is gonna be interviewing, and I'm really, really excited to dive deep because we're gonna go deep, just so you guys know, so you guys can understand where everything is happening, how is everything's being created, and what type of things that I wanna create for the future 2021 and moving on. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
thank
Bye.
you, Omar. Thank you.